Hi everyone, it's Josh Keegan here. I'm Josh Keegan and welcome to Aussienaut Live. This is a very new live stream. I have some very new equipment, all that sort of stuff. I'm just trying to get used to it all. I have upgraded everything since last time we actually spoke about any sorts of things. You might notice there's a new camera. You might notice there's a few other things. And this evening, I'm actually going to be talking all about the HyImpulse launch and live stream I conducted back in May 2024. Getting into all the details and offering some insights into what was happening on the ground. Just remember, the chat is open, so please ask as many questions as you can, as possible, and I will try and answer them. And we'll get into that in a second. So welcome to Jim Cleland, who is obviously a very, very big supporter of Aussienaut and previously the Space Down Under. So I've actually just wanted to put this together to answer some questions. If you have any, please remember that, oh God, everything's falling apart. Yeah, same as usual. Oh dear. Just when you go through and prepare everything and that everything was working okay, now things are just, as you go live, things are starting to fall apart. So first things first, as usual, because I've got some new equipment, I just need to check with everybody if they can actually hear me. Because I've had some bad experiences in the past. I just need to know whether or not, or take a second here to let me know whether or not you can actually hear me clear and loud and strong. Just because I know there has been a few issues in the past, so I just need to make sure that you guys can all hear me and can hear everything that's going on at the moment. So yeah, I just want to make sure that that's. Oh, David Campbell is here. Good morning and greetings from Northern Ireland. G'day, David. How's it going? Welcome to the new Aussienaut Live. I haven't done this for a little while. I'm feeling a little bit nervous, so please forgive me because I'm going to be talking all about the HyImpulse launch. So I just wanted to give everyone a bit of a background of what happened and my experiences with the HyImpulse launch and exactly how it all worked out and how I ended up being there, which was literally on the other side of Australia. Loud and clear, no worries. Oh, thank you for confirming. I just checked the chat while I was at it. I managed to see that there. So thank you everyone for checking up on me and making sure that I am okay. So hang on, I've got warnings here. What's happening? No, my morning streams bit rate. Okay, all right, that's fine. So we'll just let that go for the moment and we'll see how we go. All right, so I'm nearly a neighbour. That's excellent. You guys are just neighbours. That's fantastic. I love it when people introduce themselves and to each other. On my live streams, they use the chat to actually get to know people, everybody in and around. And it's good just to remember that we all are part of a wider space family or space fam. All right. So yeah, what I thought I'd do is I'd actually thought I'd get a little bit into this and tell you all about how this all came about. So how it all worked is that back in November 2023, HyImpulse actually made the announcement that Southern Launch made the announcement about a German rocket company, HyImpulse, and they signed a launch agreement for their maiden voyage of a rocket called the SR-75. If it's successful, this would make it the first hybrid rocket launch to be performed in Australia for the very first time right here in the Southern Hemisphere. So just for reference, to let everyone know, the rocket was different comparatively as to what everyone is normally experiencing. It was a mixture of paraffin and liquid oxygen. So that's what made it a hybrid engine. And they were coming all the way to Australia just to test it. All right, so... And they actually made out that it said that the launch would be conducted at the Koonibba test range located outside of Ceduna on the edge of the Nullarbor Plain. So in February 2024, I found out the rocket was being shipped from Germany to Australia. And during this month, I reached out to Southern Launch via Twitter, of all places, asking if someone could come and live stream the launch. So that basically was me. I was targeting me. And believe it or not, according to this... Well, there's this side. I got it right finally. And according to this tweet here that everyone can see is under the previous guise of the Space Down Under. Yes, I was actually invited to come along to the launch. That was also in no part or sorry, no part. That was also due to the wonderful help and support of both Jim Cleland and Tom June, who actually helped to bother, started a campaign online via Twitter to say, hey, look, maybe Josh Keegan should go there and actually cover the launch. And so basically what happened is this was really, really good. And what it did was it actually presented some very interesting questions about how I'm going to get there. How could I possibly afford this? And how am I going to live stream this to my YouTube channel? Fortunately, all of those questions were answered quite immediately when I managed to obtain a sponsor. And that sponsor was One Giant Leap Australia Foundation. And they decided that the One Giant Leap Australia Foundation decided to support me, and they made all those questions disappear. So I needed to travel from Brisbane to get to the Koonibba test range. And that was quite a significant amount of distance. So as you can see, it's on the other side of the country. It's roughly 2,447,000 kilometres away. So 2,447. Woo! I got it right. Away from Brisbane, which is my hometown. And the solution was actually to try and fly from Brisbane, and then try and fly from Brisbane to Adelaide, and then try and drive from Adelaide to Ceduna. So flying from Adelaide to Ceduna became impossible. As closer to the launch, everything was booked out. So I actually drove from Adelaide to Ceduna, and it's a 776 kilometre trip, which takes about 8 hours and 8 minutes in total. So for me, I decided to rent an EV to do it, which added around about 2 extra hours with recharging. So, well, why did I do it with an EV? Well, you know what? I'll get to that in just a minute. But yeah, I'll make sure that, I'll leave that one for the moment. So I just want to go to the question and answer, guys, and just see if that's working. I'm just going to click on someone, which would be, hang on. Good morning from Scotland. Yes, the chat pops up. This is what happens when you decide to rebrand. I feel happy about it. So yes, the question and answer is open, guys. So yes, please ask as many questions as you like. Please say g'day to each other like Jim and David have been doing. It's great to have you guys on board, and please ask as many questions as you decide, as you see fit. That would be fantastic. It would really make things very, very, very interesting. So basically, remember, I left it just before I got into the questions and answers to make sure that was all working. I decided to, I was telling you all about how far it was, as 776 kilometres to actually get from Adelaide to Ceduna. I hired an electric vehicle, an EV, to do it. Why did I do that? Well, there's these things. A bit weird. So I decided to drive across, and I went all the way, and it drove across towards the Nullarbor Plain, where the Koonibba test range is. So what I did was I managed to pack up all of my equipment and take it with me. So lots of items were in the studio, and I decided to pack some of those up. So some of those things are this, which is a webcam, and yes, I was trying to use this. This was the one that was highly overexposed at the time during the live stream, and that's what I attempted to use. I also attempted to use this. This is an Artura Mini Fuse 2, rather than using a Roadcaster Duo. You'll get the terms right. I decided to use the Mini Fuse 2. Unfortunately, this had a few issues during the live stream and the broadcast. A lot of people actually commented. I went through all the comments and I found out that yes, this wasn't going in stereo, for one. Two, it wasn't actually delivering the right level of sound. I've experienced a massive amount of sound issues with this ever since I got it. So this is my experience. This may not be your experience if you own one of these and you like them. They're a fantastic little device. It's great for you to plug in just regular microphones into them, and then you get headphones out. Everything's balanced up here. It actually is it runs surprisingly well, and it's very, very portable. You just plug a USB-C into it and it's powered off a laptop or a computer. So I did have a laptop and a computer with me at the same time, and even though the Mini Fuse 2 didn't work so well for me, that was my experience. So I also had a laptop, a gaming laptop. This one here, I packed this up as well. This all got exposed to the bully dust, which you'll find common, which is common to the nullarbor plane. And yes, unfortunately, unfortunately, I don't know. It doesn't work anymore. I may have wrecked it. Oh, no. Anyway, so yes, rather expensive mistake with some of this equipment that I took with me. So I managed to pack all of it up. I managed to take all of it with me. I put it in a suitcase. I also had a Starlink device, which is over in the corner there. It's sitting there, and used one of those. And basically, I packed everything up. Took all parts of my studio with me. There was lots of things that I took. I also managed to take an additional microphone as well. And then basically, I went to Southern Launch's now permanent facility at the Koonibba test range. So this was actually the HyImpulse Launch was the first launch from Southern Launch's new permanent facility, and I was actually at the public viewing area. So how did I do it? Well, I managed to drive into the Koonibba test range, and it's around about 5 kilometres from the Koonibba Aboriginal community. When I'm there, there's no power, there's no 4G mobile coverage. Well, there was some, but it was definitely being used by the general public at the time. There was no Wi-Fi, and I was also approximately 3.5 kilometres from the launch site in the public view area, sitting in the sun. So any available power and internet was actually taken up by Southern Launch and HyImpulse for their activities to monitor the launch. Now, you may remember I actually said I hired an EV. The EV I hired was a thing called a BYD Atto 3 specifically. Now, this was actually very unique. And one of the unique features of this particular one and all of the BYD range is they actually have power out and to a standard connection. So what you see here in the picture is I connected up the Starlink to the BYD, so I plugged it into power. So the Starlink is actually sitting on the top of the roof there. You can see it, that thing on the angle. That's the Starlink. This is a bit behind the scenes. I was directly plugged in. The router was there. The laptop that I was using was also plugged into it. The Mini Fuse 2 was plugged into the laptop. So everything that I had to actually do the launch, both cameras that I had as well. An additional camera I had as well was also there that I managed to point at the launch site. That was all powered by the BYD, and it did it for the entirety of the launch. So I've got some questions and answers at the moment, and I'll get to some of those. So Jim's asked the question, when is your next rocket launch coverage coming up? Well, at the moment, unfortunately, Jim, there isn't one. There isn't a timeline or a date for when that will actually happen. Specifically right now, specifically at the moment. And the reason why that is just because Gilmore Space at the moment Gilmore Space Technologies is experiencing a few issues in trying to get their range permits, just simply because they're located on at the Bowen Orbital Spaceport, which is right on the coast of Queensland. So on the east side, towards the east, it will be the whole continent of Australia. To the west to the west is the rest of the continent of Australia. Wow. To the west is the rest of the continent of Australia. To the east is the actual Pacific Ocean and the Great Barrier Reef. And they've got a few things. They're basically threading a needle to try and get it to go on the launch parameter through an OTAM, which they'll issue. But also at the same time, that's I believe it's a high shipping area as well. So when you go and issue an OTAM, there's also restrictions on shipping vessels that go through. So yes, it'll be very, very interesting to see whether or not Gilmore Space Technologies will launch anytime soon. I believe the next one will be a lot sooner than that, and I'll get to that in a minute, mate. So I've got something a little bit to reveal. So basically, you're looking forward to covering the Gilmore space launch. Middle name is Gilmore. Yes, Jim, you've mentioned that before. Hang on, why is this the wrong size? That's interesting. All right, let's cut it off. So I apologize for that. Trying to make sure you can see everything. Maybe if I move it up that way a little bit and draw this down. Nope. Live, man. Wow. I set everything up. I thought I set everything up really well, but apparently I didn't. So the rest of the comment goes, mention the middle name is Gilmore, and I'm sure that'll get you a front row seat. I'm sure it will too. One day it will, mate. I'm sure it will. Anyway, all right. So let's continue on with the next part of the how I actually got there. So yes, I had that BYD. It was all plugged in, and that's how I did the live stream. As you can see, the BYD was sitting next to a building. So it was a temporary building that was put in the public viewing area, which also contained a lot of the equipment that Southern Launch and HyImpulse were using. So yeah, you can see by that, and also where you can see that little sign that's there, that's where it's kind of bent around. That is a please don't go any further than here, just simply because that's where HyImpulse and Southern Launch were walking to and from to actually get into the operations for the rocket launch. And if you go back and watch the live stream and replay that yourself, you can actually see some of the crew from Southern Launch and HyImpulse walking past the camera, because I had to place the camera at the range, and the range was just beyond the corner of that building that you can see there. So you can see off towards the horizon. On the horizon there, you can actually see there's a bit of a gap, and in that little gap between the tree or the scrub and the side of the building, that's exactly where the launch pad was. So, and that's the designated area I was provided with. So a little bit of insight there of exactly where I was allowed to be. The reason why I needed to be 3.5 kilometres away from the actual launch pad was just in case anything went wrong. And over my right hand side, when I was doing it, there was the general public. There was covered area, all that sort of stuff. That was mainly for the general public and the Aboriginal community, who were selling t-shirts and food and all that sort of stuff, which was fantastic. It was awesome to have the general public there. That was just over my right shoulder, which was amazing. So unfortunately I didn't. I've checked all my since returning, and it's been a couple of months. Yes, I've actually looked at everything. The volume is very low. Hang on, let's see if I can fix that. Yep. There we go. Is that a little bit better? I hope it is. All right, let's go. All right, sorry about that. Thank you very much for the warning there, Al. I do appreciate it. So I've just turned up the volume so that way everyone can hear me a little bit better. All right, and it actually sounds really nice in my ears, by the way. So yes, Al, thank you very much for coming back. Very much for letting me know about the volume. It's always a nice thing to hear, get a bit of feedback in regard to that. All right, so yeah, please go and view that live stream of the launch. I think it was very obvious that it was the first time I was streaming a rocket launch, but I ended up with some really cool things that happened of that as a result. And also at the same time, some interesting statistics and information about the live stream is that...
G'day everybody, and welcome to Space Calendar Online.
Q&A, there we go. Apologies about that. All right, some of the interesting things that happened as part of the live stream was it went international, believe it or not. When you look back at the chat and you're watching it, and I do recommend that you do that, you'll actually see people who are introducing themselves from all over the planet, pretty much similar to how they are now. Terrible echo. Okay. All right, I'll turn it down a little bit. Apologise for that. Just let me turn that down. Terrible echo. Turn that up. All right. Sorry. I'm balancing a new audio pad. So yeah, please. Whoa, headphones off, TV speaker now. Sorry, Jim. Let me turn that down. All right, let's see how we go. Let's turn There we go. It's interesting. It's sliding and everything. That yeah. So all right, perfect. All right, thank you, David. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate all the feedback. Again, new equipment. And yeah, so yeah, I've graduated, as I said, from this stuff to a Rodecaster Duo, and yeah, it's a little bit better, a little bit more balancing, but you can hear me as opposed to not hearing me with this. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so we're talking about the live stream, and we're talking about what happened during the live stream. So people introducing them from each other and from themselves all over the planet. There are a lot of people who were watching it. And basically, as a result, some of the statistics I managed to get from that was that some of the top ranking countries that tuned in to see the live streams. So there's over 19,000. There was 1,800 people who were watching concurrently. There's now over 19,000 people who have seen the live stream in total. So that's quite a significant audience that I've managed to reach. And fortunately for me, some of the top ranking countries have been, there's been the US, there's Germany, Australia, of course, because we're there. There was Japan, there was UK, there's France, and also, yes, Scotland. Thanks, Jim. Canada, France, Italy, Netherlands, Brazil, New Zealand, and the list kind of just keeps going on and on and on and on. And as a side note, a couple of people who got in touch with me after the live stream actually told me that it was picked up by the national news in 3 different countries. So it was retransmitted. My footage specifically, because it was very wobbly to begin with, just simply because I had a manual tripod and I was trying to track it and point it upwards and whatever else, and it was all me, just me by myself. And so I lost track of it. So yes, it was wobbly footage, and it was featured on the national news in Germany, the US, and the UK. I do realise it was picked up by a few different smaller channels over in there. So what's happened? Well, even though I was unable to track the rocket and it fell back to Earth just simply because it was me by myself, I do know it was actually successfully recovered. And there's the image there. So it was successfully recovered as it fell back to Earth, and it was quite safe. And it's been safed, and this is one of the images that was released publicly by HyImpulse and Southern Launch a couple of days after the launch. And I just thought I'd bring it to your attention here. So the interesting part and the most wonderful part about all of this was I managed to make some friends with some of the locals. Hey, Colleen, if you're watching, g'day, how's it going? She's a lady from the Koonibba general store. She's a lovely lady, and I managed to make a key contact with her. Hopefully we're still mates out of this. I consider that we are, but who knows? Carleen and some of the other locals that I met as well went to a nearby property, and they managed to watch the entire launch and the SR-75 coming down under parachutes. And since then, the SR-75 has actually been returned to Germany. So yeah, that's just a little bit interesting information there. So it's really interesting that HyImpulse on their first launch was highly successful. It managed to fly and return, which was also wonderful. It managed to, there was in the nose cone of the vehicle was also postcards from kids, postcards from space that was organised by One Giant Leap Australia Foundation. I believe they're being returned to all the schools, all the students and schools that participated. So, so what happens next, I guess, is the next biggest question. And what will happen from here in terms of Southern Launch? So what will happen is, Southern Launch has actually signed an MOU with Spaceworks Enterprises, and this has just been more recent news lately, and it's been featured on Southern Launch's LinkedIn profile. So they're getting a little bit more prominence. So Southern Launch has signed an MOU with Spaceworks Enterprises, and Spaceworks Enterprises is a manufacturer of advanced space transportation, including re-entry devices, or RED, to enable low-cost autonomous returns of payload from orbit. So signing the MOU means that Southern Launch will be able to offer the Koonibba test range as a point of return for the RED vehicles, providing on-demand services for orbital returns. Spaceworks has already successfully completed a higher altitude drop test and recovery in 2021, returning from an altitude of 103,000 feet under a guided aerofoil. So there's more on the horizon, and there is more coming. And there is more to be happening very, very soon. So I'm looking at doing orbital returns, which is the next biggest thing for me. And if I could do it for these guys, that would be fantastic. And I'm talking to Southern Launch at the moment, and yes, I'm allowed to go back and return, only from the public viewing area. So, but however, I'm working on a lot of different things for you guys, so that way I can actually make sure that I'm bringing it back to you, and making sure that you guys get to see all the latest things and all the better quality. So I'm trying to improve. I've been researching equipment. I've found some things that will improve the overall quality and potentially get us closer to the action from 3.5 kilometers away. And there's also more footage and images of behind the scenes that I'm saving for an upcoming video. And I just thought I'd give you a bit of a sneak peek of what that will look like. What's the biggest rocket you can actually use here at the Koonibba test range?
Oh, yeah, so MRL, so we are restricted, you could say, to what MRL can carry. And MRL can carry, at the moment, 4.2 tons of rocket. So that is a very, very big rocket.
I'll rewind just a moment. Try that again. Rocket you can actually use here at the Koonibba test range.
Yeah, so MRL, so we are restricted, you could say, to what MRL can carry. And MRL can carry, at the moment, 4.2 tons of rocket. So that is a very, very big rocket. This rocket that we'll be launching hopefully later this week is about 2 tons, so twice the size of this. Yeah.
Wow, twice the size. Yeah. So what's a theoretical limit you can actually go up to apart from the 4 tons? Can you go up to 50 tons? Can you go the sky's the limit, or are you limited to?
Limited by the design, and where it becomes interesting. So this is a truss-based system.
Yep.
And so even though it comes down to how much will that truss deflect as that rocket sits on it. It has a very large hydraulic ram at the back, which is more than capable of lifting quite a few more tons above 4.2. But it's how much that truss will bend as the rocket sits on it. So
okay, cool.
We've already tested parts of the truss to 5 tons. But we will slowly test things out, right?
As they get bigger. As the requests come in and things get bigger, then you'll just get bigger.
Yes.
Yeah, very cool.
So interestingly, Koonibba test range is actually 350 kilometres long.
Yep.
It's not widely known. So this 145 kilometres up to the train line is what we use on a day-to-day basis.
Yep.
We can then extend up to 350. Which opens up quite a few interesting options for testing different systems. The next interesting one will be the RefX launch either later this year or early next, and that will fly out over the train line, re-enter the Earth's atmosphere, and then actually start to fly back to Koonibba.
Wow.
Won't get far, not like it'll land back here, but it'll be testing a new type of reusable vehicle.
Wow, thank you. So there you go. Just a little bit of inside footage and inside knowledge. And I'm saving that one. You guys know now, and it's a little bit more public. But yes, this is what's happening, and it will be coming up soon. So yes, before the end of the year. So to answer your question there, Jim, yes, there is another launch coming, and it will be this year. So yes, and I hope to bring everything to everybody really, 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 really soon. So, all right. So there's more behind the scenes footage. There is a ton more. I've been for the last couple of months. So just to let everyone know, I just want to let everyone know what's going on, and that's the whole idea of this talking about the HyImpulse launch. The HyImpulse launch is really made it very interesting for me at the moment, where I've changed the way I'm doing things, and I'm trying to do things very, very differently now. And by doing things differently means that I've formulated a company, and the company is called Aussienaut Proprietary Limited, a private-based company of my very own. I've gone into that just simply because the live stream went extremely well. I've had viewers from all over the world contact me, quite a few. It's been one of my proudest moments, but also at the same time, there's a lot of administrative work that needed to happen in the background. Parts of the administrative work is to formulate the company. The other thing is I couldn't no longer use the space down under, just because under Australian law, there is another company that might be trading under that name, then they get precedent because they have been trading longer than I have, since around about 2006. So that's why I had to lean hard into Aussienaut. So Aussienaut is now the new name for the YouTube channel. It's changed from the Space Down Under over to Aussienaut. So yes, with live streams and things like that, like I'm doing to you right now, means that what will happen is, you know, there'll be new logos, there'll be new intros, there'll be all sorts of new stuff. There's a whole bunch of new equipment I have in front of me and over there as well for me to help edit videos, get them to you faster. I'm now working and trying to and collaborating with a couple of different companies and looking to collaborate with a few other companies in regard to bringing you better footage, better images, more closer views, more accurate views, better tracked views more than anything else. So yes, there is quite a bit coming, and that's what has happened since the HyImpulse launch. And that's why you haven't seen me for a little while. Just simply because I have been working really, really hard to get everything up and running and working. And there's a lot of things. So basically the Space Down Under was a hobby. Now it's moving quickly beyond a hobby. So I fixed a lot of things. I'm trying to fix a lot of the way I live stream a lot of things, like the way I'm live streaming to you right now. The studio is still the same. Things are still the same. I've got new cameras. I've got a whole series of new cameras coming. I've got all sorts of things that are about to happen, and what will happen is I'll start to return to providing updates and shorts and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, more to come. But on a much more serious note, look, we're still going to have fun. We're still going to have lots of fun. Brian is not here, just simply because he's, g'day Brian Lim, who's normally my co-host for live streams. I gave him a leave pass on this because it was more about me connecting to you guys directly. And for you guys to actually ask some questions. And we're going to get into some of those questions right now. One of them was, dude, I did a perfect live... It's been cut off. Anyway, so yes, I did a perfect live stream. Thank you, Jim. The rest of it says, I'm pleased you got the viewing figures and coverage you deserved. You've updated the equipment, and I'm sure that the next one will be epic. Yes, I'm working on it slowly. All sorts of things are happening right now. And lots of things I can't say publicly just because I better not. And it's really because of that. At the moment, I better not say anything about what's going on in the background. David, thank you. Petrus, hey, hi, welcome. Hang on, sorry, I'll put that one up. Sorry, David, I'll come to yours in a second. Hi, Petrus, how are you doing? Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us on the live stream. David is also heard by many people. Space is hard, but doing a live stream on your own was a mammoth task and certainly something I couldn't do. I watched it live and was super impressed. Well done. Thank you, David. I do appreciate that. I did actually practice a lot. I was limited by the equipment I had, which everyone knows. And I apologize for. I'm not going to do that anymore. But because it is what it is. I did what I could. I made sure that I was bringing something. And as it turns out, I was the only one. There was no one else. There was no one else there. There was general media who were taking still images and all that sort of stuff in the background. But I was the only one who was actually live streaming. So yeah, I was proud to bring that to you as an Australian. Yes, no, it's not our rocket. I don't care. Do you care? I mean, honestly, it's a rocket launching from Australia. Isn't this what this is all about? Isn't this why I'm doing this? The Aussienaut is the whole idea behind this is the Australian space industry where Aussienauts are born, and that's the new tagline. And that's all over my my social media and my pages. And there's a store, and they've changed all the domains and everything like that. So yes, so the Space Down Under, sorry, the Australian space industry are where Aussienauts are born. So sorry, it just rolls off the tongue. It just rolls off the tongue of the old name. So yeah, I'm still getting a bit used to that. Definitely behind the scenes, pre-launch and post-launches. It would be interesting to see. Yes, I do have some of that. And yes, there'll be a comprehensive video about the HyImpulse launch. I'm looking to put it all together just because I've got so much footage, guys. I've just got too much footage. There's little things in there that you probably will see, and there's little things you probably will regret seeing, knowing way too much about my trip to the Koonibba Koonibba test range. I also, there's a couple of shorts there that on my YouTube channel, you'll see exactly what happened. I was charging the EV the whole time. It only added an extra 2 hours, and there's a fantastic charging network all the way through South Australia. And I was able to take advantage of that. Thank you, David, for saying keeping it coming. Yes, there's going to be plenty, and there's going to be plenty more. On average, Martian, thank you very much for joining, and thank you very much for the comment, which is very exciting, Josh. Best of luck for it all. I appreciate it. So that's it. So I just thought I'd give you a bit of a teaser, a bit of a connection to you guys direct, to let you know that if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. And I basically had a moment where I brought a live stream to a launch to the world. Again, it wasn't the best quality, but it was what I had at the time, and I'm looking to improve all of that, to bring it, to make it sure it's better, and it's going to be a much more phenomenal experience for you and for me, because you got to remember, at the end of the day, I'm an Aussienaut. I'm an amateur Aussienaut, but I'm an Aussienaut, and that's because I love this stuff. I love it so much, and if I can bring it to you guys, and you guys get excited by it like I do, because I do. I just get excited about it because this is for me as well as you. Like I get excited by it, so I bring it to you, and I wouldn't care if there was just you and me, or a couple of you, and or there was 100,000 of you, or 1 million of you. I would still do it with the same enthusiasm and hopefully semi level of professionalism that I did with the last one. Anyway, so all right. So I appreciate it, guys. And once again, guys, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate you taking the time to watch this live stream. And for those who've tuned into the live stream of the HyImpulse Launch, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch it, and the 19,000 people who watched it from all over the world. It's really humbling. I can talk underwater with a mouthful of marbles. I'm that good. That, when 19,000 people have seen me and watched me, yeah, that's still humbling. That's really humbling. Anyway, so all right. So thank you very much for taking the time to watch. If you like this video, do all the usual stuff, like, share, subscribe, and all that other crap. And, guys, as always, it's still the normal. Remember, stay caffeinated.